Good evening, guys. Good evening, Netra. Okay. Good evening, Mohammed Reshma. I should call you Reshma, right? Okay. Hi, Pasha. I saw your mail, Pasha. I'll reply to you in 1-2 days. I'm just a little busy right now. Okay. I'll reply. Yeah. Okay. So today will be our first session on GRE. Okay. Yeah, some of you already are familiar with me. Others who are new, I'm Deepti. Okay, today we will be starting our session again from the beginning, from the introduction, everything. Okay. So as you know, GRE is of course is something that you you set a date, you go and write. That is GRE. It's not like CAT or something where they'll announce the date. You'll have to set a date for that. And there are 3 sections in GRE. Okay, and there are 3 sections. I think everyone is here. We'll just wait for 1 minute. Let us just wait for 1 minute, 1 or 2 minutes, because if others miss it, they'll again, like, they feel like they missed something. In the meanwhile, okay, well, I think how many of you are new? Manya, Reshma, you guys are new. Okay. Venkatanaga, what? Hello, guys. Venkatanaga, what is your name? Sorry. No? Okay. I'm just giving it time because otherwise people will again feel hesitated for missing it. So, by the way, all of you have this book, right? Keep this book with you, Vocabulary Builder. All the 3 books are important, but this module will be doing this book, Vocabulary Builder. All of you have it, right? Okay. Okay. Anyhow, so we will start this. So yeah, GRE pattern. In the GRE pattern, you have three different sections. In the each section they will have subsection also. We will discuss about subsections later. But broad way, you have 3 sections. One is analytical writing. Even that I'll be handling it. Many of you know already. Another one is verbal reasoning. That we are doing it now, verbal reasoning. And quantitative reasoning. Sorry, there is a mistake here. Sorry. Quantitative reasoning here, and Mahesh will be handling it. Mahesh, sir. So these three sections we will handle it. Okay. So the first one, in the analytical writing, there are two elements here. One is issue task and one is argument task. In the issue task, and you'll be given 30 minutes for issue task. You'll be given 30 minutes for argument task. One each. And 0 to 6 is the score. 6 is the highest. 3.5 is the average. Above 4.5, 5. It goes on like that. Okay. Verbal reasoning, it will have like 2 sections. One is reading comprehension, of course. Another one is sentence equivalence and text completion. We will be talking about that. Don't worry. We will be talking about that later. Approximately 20 questions will be there per section. That is, okay. So each section perhaps, so if it is like sentence equivalence and text completion, you'll have 20 questions. And for reading comprehension, you have 20 questions, not 20 passages, 20 questions. Okay. So overall, you will have 40 questions. Okay. The marks will be like 130 to 170. It can go till 170. You can aim for something above 150 above it. Okay. Around 160. You should aim for it. So 30 minutes. That's also for section. Each section for 30 minutes. Each subsection. Okay. Next one is quantitative reasoning, and that one is also approximately 20 questions per section. Those sections Mahesh will talk to you about it. Okay. It has like 40 questions also, and it is the score is also same, 130 to 170, but it has 35 minutes. Since it's like problem solving, it has like little more time. Okay. So verbal reasoning, you have 3 subsections. Importantly, verbal reasoning. One is sentence equivalence. In the sentence equivalence, it is fill in the blanks. Okay, in the fill in the blanks. So in the sentence equivalence, you will have like 1 blank, and for that blank, you will be given 6 options. 6 options. Like in that 6 options, you will have to choose 2 answers. Okay, 2 answers you will have to choose for that 1 blank. It should be fitting. Okay, 2 answers. You need to choose 2 answers, and no partial credit. If for example, if you get one right and 1 wrong, this will not be counted. This will not be given credit. This will not be scored. Okay. So you will have to choose. You will have to get both right. Only then you can get marks. All right. And GRA does not have negative marking per se. Okay, it does not have a negative marking, and you can skip questions if you want. You can get more questions, but yeah, it doesn't have. But as for example, if you write sentence equivalence well, they will be giving you even more like harder or difficult questions. So the difficult questions will be increasing. It's like sectional adaptive. Okay, that is there, but it doesn't have negative marking. Okay, text completion is another type. Like in the text completion, you will be given like usually from 1 to 3. You can have 1 blank to 3 blanks. So first blank, second blank, third blank. So maximum 3 blanks. For each blank, you will be given 3 options. Okay, 3 options each. So you'll have to choose for each blank. You will have to choose 1 option from the given. Like they'll be telling you for this blank and this blank. This here also, if you have like 3 blanks, you will not get partial credit for choosing only 2 blanks correct. You will have to get all 3 correct if there are 2. If there are only 2 blanks, you have to get all 2 correct. Okay, there is no partial score. And the next one is, of course, reading comprehension. We will call it. So this one is SE, and we will just call it like that. So don't get confused if I call it like that. This is TC. And this is his RC. Okay, so text completion, we talked about it. RC, reading comprehension, is multiple choice questions. You know that. Mostly you will be asked to choose only 1 question, 1 option. Very rarely, sometimes they will ask you to choose multiple options. I'll tell you when that is. When we do it, I'll tell you, I will introduce you to such questions also. Okay. So is it clear? Are you following me? Did you understand? These 2 are fill in the blanks are kind of questions. And this is, of course, reading comprehension. You are aware of it. Any questions so far? Yes, no questions. Did you guys get it? Okay. All right. So yeah, that's the one. Later. Okay. So target score, usually this is like an average score that we got it. This is a little old. Okay, so general score information. So in the mean is something like an average. You can get something from 150 that average, and quantitative reasoning you can get 152, and AVA you can get 3.5. AVA is analytical writing. Okay, so this was what like the worldwide, if you take an average, this is what an average score. If you take Asian students, 146 is for verbal reasoning, 156 is quantitative reasoning, and 3 is the AVA. You can see verbal reasoning and AVA, they have less score compared to quantitative. Internet for engineering major, 148 is the average here, 159 is the average in quantitative reasoning, and 3.5. This shouldn't be the case. Okay, somehow we have this, like, call it stereotype or some tendency that we somehow lack in verbal reasoning. It shouldn't be the case. You should at least like score for something higher than 150. Score for higher than, like, aim for something higher than 150. Okay, and aim for AVA. In AVA, aim for more than like 3.5. Don't aim for 3.5. Aim like around 4.5, something like that. Don't aim for less. You should be aiming at least like above 155, 160. That's how you should aim for. Okay, and it is actually easy, GRE, but the only thing is you need to understand some strategies, and you need to of course remember the vocabulary. That is the thing. It's always there. You will have a lot of new words, and you will come across, and you will have to remember, revise, and always note down those words, revise, and try to use it in your daily life. Those are the important ones. Vocabulary is what is important in GRE at most, in verbal session, verbal ability. Okay. So myths about marking. GRE is a sectional adaptive test. I already told you, like, they will increase the difficulty level through sections. For example, if you are good at in the beginning section, like SE and TC, they will probably give you even more tougher ones. In depending on that, they will also increase the scoring. By the way, then they will also see the difficulty level. How difficult? How difficult is the question? How much did you answer in that? They will also see that. Okay, if it is difficult, the score will be more. So they'll take an average according to that. So there is no question level negative marking. There's no negative marking. You can skip over questions, but still there is no negative marking. That's why it's better not to skip. Try not to skip. Okay. So about scores. Score select option helps you to choose the score you want ETS to send to the university. Sometimes you take more than one test, like GRE also. You can take more than once. So whichever score you like, you can select that and send it to the university. Okay. Score reporting has become paperless. You can view your score online 10 to 15 days after the exam. You will be updated by email. So usually the verbal ability, it will take just like 1 day for them to correct, because it's all online. But AVA will take time. That's why it is 10 to 15 days. Since AVA will take time, okay. So in 10 to 15 days, they will send you an email, and you will be updated. Okay. So far this is about the exam. Are you guys clear? The newcomers, not the one, or you guys already have an idea. The newcomers, are you guys all clear? No? Okay. Why no answer? Yeah. Reshma, okay. Thank you. All right. So one thing we need to understand is, of course, vocabulary, as we established already, it is very important. in GRE it is very important. So how do you improve vocabulary? That is the question that we have now. And we need to remember multiple things. There are, of course, different ways of improving vocabulary. And one thing I want to say in the beginning itself, I'm here to give you strategies. I'm here to push you. I'm here to guide you. But at the end of the day, you will have to remember the words. So you need to do a lot of work here. Okay, you need to do a lot of work. And for one thing, first thing that I'll tell you is to read newspaper or improve your reading. That will help you in multiple ways. Okay, improve your reading. Reading is extremely important. Okay. And the next one is, so we have like multiple strategies to improve vocabulary. First one is structural analysis. That's what we are going to do today. Okay, structural analysis. Etymology and structural analysis are similar. So structural analysis is, for example, okay, this is the word help. Okay, help is the word. Let's just, yeah. If I add un to it and full to it, what will happen? So unhelpful, that becomes another word. Okay, so another word that is misunderstand. Okay, misunderstand. There are multiple words like that. So what are they? Like structural. We are analyzing the structure of the word here. That is the structural analysis that we are going to do today. I'll explain to you further. I'll explain you. Okay. So the next one is storytelling. That we'll be doing in the later sessions. Sentence equivalence and text completion. We'll be doing it. In the story format, you'll see a lot of words in story. Okay, so you can actually understand the word usage there. Okay, that's why we will be doing. So the thing is that we believe is if you make people understand, if you tell some new words in a story, that it will be easily registered in the mind. So that's exactly why storytelling is also an effective way of vocabulary. Word bridges. What are word bridges? Like in this book also, you'll find the word bridges. For example, you can say you'll go to an event. Okay, you will go to an event, or for example, no, okay, let's just say you went to an event, a marriage, a wedding. There you will find a lot of words. If you just look around, there will be bride, groom, a lot of how is the decoration, etc. Lot of event-based words. You can group all the words. You can group all the words and write it. That is word bridges. Okay, or you can do it with synonyms. For example, smile. You have smile, chuckle. Okay, guffaw, lot of words with related to the laugh, smile. Okay, so you can group all those words at one place. If you group the words, that is called word bridges. If you keep on bridging it, if you keep on building your vocabulary through grouping, that will be called word bridges. You can do it. Okay, so like there is another book that you can see in the Word Power Made Easy. There also you'll find such things. Okay, the next one is visual vocabulary. We will be doing this as well in the coming session. Okay, visual vocabulary is something that you see a picture and you will try to build your vocabulary by coming across words, or you saying it, or whatever word that come across, comes across your mind. So that way you will probably remember it better. Picture makes us remember better. I will also be giving you a word like that. Contextual vocabulary. This is, of course, is important. Contextual vocabulary is not only important normally to learn the words, rather it is important in sentence equivalence and text completion also. Because what is contextual vocabulary? For example, I keep saying this example. If you do not have a dictionary, if you do not have a dictionary and someone says a word, there is no way for you to check what that word is. You will have to reply to that person. You will try to understand the context, right? You will try to understand the situation in which they are talking about, or you will try to understand the relationship that you have with the person and kind of situation and the kind of topic that you guys are discussing. So on multiple things, you will try to guess the word. That's exactly is contextual vocabulary. You will try to guess the word by reading the context, as in related words around the word. Okay, so you'll have to, so there will be a sentence, the word will be not there, or word, some unknown word, very hard word is there. You will you will have to guess. So depending on the other words and depending on your understanding of the sentence itself, you will try to understand that word. That is contextual vocabulary. This is important for sentence equivalence, text completion, reading comprehension, for multiple things. Okay. So etymology is like the science of languages. Okay, it's the science of languages. So this is also what we are going to do. Like so when we what we believe is sometimes like beginning words. If for example, this miss is a prefix. Okay, miss. So misunderstand, mistake. There are a lot of words with miss. So you can guess the word meaning by that like part of the word. Okay, sometimes you can guess it. Okay, you may not know exact meaning, but you can guess it, right? We know for a fact this can be negative only. It's hardly positive. We don't, of course, there can be one or two exceptions, but it is very rare. Okay, mostly it will be negative. So that kind of science that we can apply while we are learning vocabulary. Please let me know if I'm going fast or anything. If you guys don't answer or if you guys don't tell me, I'll not understand. Okay, are you guys following me? Is it okay? We're all here. Okay, Soumya, you are all, yeah, you guys know me, yeah. Okay. Okay, Reshma, yeah. So yes, so GRE vocabulary, you know, this word vocabulary comes from Latin. Okay, Latin vocabulum. Latin vocabulum. So in English, lingua franca. Do you guys know what does it mean? Lingua franca. Anyone knows what does it mean? Lingua franca. It means a communicative language. Lingua franca. It means a communicative language. What does it mean? For example, if I go to a different state, okay, in India itself, I go to a different state. I do not know the language of that state. What do? I'll try to talk in English, isn't it? So that is something that, so I don't know the other person's mother tongue, and the other person doesn't know my mother tongue. So this is like a bridge. English or any communicative language is like a bridge. So it's like a communicative language we use. English, for many of us in the world, is a communicative language. English, isn't it? So that's why it is lingua franca. So vocabulary in general means it's like all the words of a language. That's what vocabulary means. So if the question is directed towards you, then the answers can be as follows. The number of words in one's, if I ask you a question like what is vocabulary, what will be the answer of you? Like you can tell me different things, like the number of words in one's repository. What is repository? It can also mean, though loosely, the words that we use in our day-to-day conversation or colloquially. What is repository? Anyone knows it? No. Repository is something that we, it's like a storage. It's like a storage. It's like a storage room. In our mind is also a repository. We keep a lot of things in our mind. Okay, so If I say is repository, it means like something like a storage. You can say it's like a folder or CPU something, or even our brain, anything that is stored, okay, like a storage system is vocabulary. 1 second. All right. So the next one is, I'll just write it. Okay. The next one is, though loosely the words we use in our day-to-day life. So whatever we converse with each other, the words that we use with each other, those are also, of course, vocabulary. What I'm talking right now, when I'm talking, now I'm using words. These are also vocabulary. So day-to-day conversation or colloquially. What is colloquially, guys? Anyone knows? Colloquially is something informal. Okay, informal language. What is informal and formal? Yeah, general, informal, something casual. It's so colloquial as in like daily conversation with your friends, family. Okay, not like interview or not something that we write in our. Those are not casual. Those are not informal. Something that we talk day to day, that is informal, day to day. Okay, day to day is the word. So, why do you think GRE is testing you on vocabulary so much? Why do you think they're hell bent on testing, like on vocabulary? There are multiple things here. There's a discussed here also. Before that, I want to tell that if GRE is like something they expect you when you get into their country. They expect you to have a good communication skills. Good communication skills is a must for them, and also when you are representing yourself, for example, in an university, mostly all of you are aiming for some one or the other university. There you'll have to represent yourself in multiple ways. You'll have to write reports, you'll have to write journals, you'll have to present a lot of, you'll have a lot of presentations to give. A lot of things will be there. There you need to have good command over language, and you need to use. How will you use it? By having good vocabulary. Okay, so in general, a good vocabulary serves three basic purposes. First, to understand what is communicated to us. It's like basic. Okay. Secondly, to communicate to others what we intend to communicate, something that we can express better. If we do not have like appropriate word, we tend to not be able to express it in the right words. That shouldn't happen. Okay. Third, to avoid being verbose. Okay, IELTS. Acha. Okay. So you do know these things. Good. So yes, the third is to avoid being verbose and bellibo. Do you guys know what is then verbose and bellibo? Anyone knows? No? Okay, verbose is something using unnecessary, like using expression like unnecessary words. For example, if I want to say something, if I tell you like not in one or two words, appropriate words, I give you multiple examples. I'll try to express in different ways because I don't know the word. I'm trying to be verbose. I'm trying to make it unnecessary. That is absolutely unnecessary. That is what being verbose is. Okay. Belabor is also similar. Like something like talkative, but not exactly. Using like over elaborative words, like over elaborative. Elaborative is something like explaining in detail. Over elaborative is explaining in too much detail. Okay. That is Belabor. and verbose. All right. All right. So, what is a root? What is a root? What is a prefix and suffix? Anybody knows what is the prefix and what is the suffix? Yes. Good. A prefix is something that comes before the word. Correct? A suffix is something that comes after the word. So prefix and suffix, this comes before the word and this comes after the word. Okay? After the word. So you can tell me an example. Can you give me an example for prefix and suffix, guys? Any example? There are many prefixes and suffixes. Can you guys think of an example? Yes, very good. Impossible. Okay. Indefinite. Okay. Okay. Extendable. Okay. Good. Unhappy. Good. Remarkable. Good. Good. So you understand what are prefixes and suffixes. And the root word is something that is unchanged. With prefix and suffix, it's like the root. Like that can be a prefix, that can be a suffix. Anything that is like a basic word without adding anything to it is a root, basic word. Okay. An English word can have three parts. One is root, one is prefix, and another one is suffix. English language has drawn words from many languages. Like if we know something, no, Soumya. Those are not synonyms, like base words. Those are base words. Okay. Synonyms are different. Synonyms that means like having the same meaning. Root word is something like basic word. I'll tell you. When we come across, like for example, here itself, I'll tell you. So if we know about one thing about English is, English has taken too many words from other languages. Okay, many words. Like most of the words in English are from other languages. That like mostly it is from Latin, it is from Greek, Spanish, French, Sanskrit. Even Sanskrit also, they were inspired by our language also. Okay. So example here, for example, Juggernaut. Anyone knows the meaning of it? Jagannath. It actually, the word derives from Jagannath. You know, in Orissa, they will have a chariot ride, right? So in that, so they actually took the word from there, which means crushing, or something unstoppable. Okay, unstoppable. Okay. Another word is so you can see that these two words are taken from our languages, that is Sanskrit and Hindi. Okay, many words that are like that. So yes, that's what. Yes, this is just Jagannath. This is derived from it. This doesn't have these meanings. These meanings are this one. Jagannath meaning crushing and unstoppable. Jagannath. This meaning is crushing and unstoppable. Okay, the next one is jungle. You know jungle, right? Forest. Jungle. It comes from there. You know, Mowgli and all that we see. Jungle. Jungle is forest. So they have taken this. This is to establish basically the English has taken from too many sources, and we can try to dissect. Try to dissect and try to see the structures, because sometimes they'll have the same structure, and try to understand the word etymology as in science, and then remember the meaning. When we sort of, like, for example, in maths also, well, when you come across something, you'll try to understand the meaning, right? If you can't just always, even if it is a formula, I don't know, at least it is better if you understand the meaning behind the formula also, and not just blindly remember it. Here also, it's better sometimes to understand where they come from, so that you will remember better. Okay. So we can take a simple example like anthrop. Anthropy meaning human. It's like human like anthrop. So anthrop means human. This is like the root word. Root word. Okay. Anthrop is a root word. There are many words that are related to anthrop. We'll see. So it means human. Now, words like anthropology, misanthrope, and anthropomorphic can be easily understood if we know the meaning of anthrop. Correct? So basically, if you know what anthrop means, if you come across a word like anthropology or misanthrope in the options, you can easily find it out, or you can easily guess it, like make an intelligent guess, like educated guess, that you know for half of the word. Perhaps this is something like, what do you think misanthrope is? Just guess it. What do you think misanthrope is? Anybody? There is mis and there is anthrop. Anthrop means human, human-like. Mis is something related to, we know it has to do something with hatred or dislike or something negative. So we know for a fact, at least this is a negative word. That much we can tell. The negative word related to the humans. That much we can tell, right? Okay, we'll see. The root words provide the basic meaning of the word. It is the base element of the word. So this is like a root word and basic meaning. It provides the basic meaning. It will have a basic meaning. And the other words, that is the prefix and suffix, etc., they'll come and add extra meaning to it. Look at this, for example. All the words that are here, right? Okay, anthropomorphic is not here. The anthropomorphic here is here. Misanthrope is not here. Okay, we will see. What do you think is anthropology, guys? Logy means study. Okay, biology, sociology. There are many logies, of course. There are many exceptions also. There are many exceptions, but usually it means study. So what do you think anthropology is? Yes, very good. It means study of human beings. Very good, Soumya. Yes. So study of human being is anthropology. Just like that, misanthrope. Can anybody guess? Mis is hatred, dislike. Anthrop is humans. What do you think misanthrope is? Yes, whatever you're thinking, it is right, actually. Yes. Misanthrope. Someone who hates human beings. Someone who hates and dislikes human beings. Hates or dislikes the human beings. Okay, misanthrope. All right. Anthropomorphic, we will study that. So these two words, please do note it down. All the words, please note them down. The other words, anthropo means human. Centric is something central, like focal point, central. What do you think it is? What do you think is the meaning of it? Anthropocentric. Can anybody tell? No? What do you think is anthropocentric? Okay. Human-centric. Yep. It's basically human-centric. Yes. Yeah. Human-centric. So basically, we are a human-centric society. We are an anthropocentric society. What does it mean? Like we make the laws, we make the civilization, we make everything according to the humans. We don't consider animals, all other living things, right? We make the society rules, etc., according to the humans' comfort and likes and dislikes. That is why we are an anthropocentric society. Correct? Okay. The next one, anthropogenesis. Anybody knows what genesis means? What does genesis mean? It means the beginning. Anybody? So, like Adam and Eve story, we know that, right? That is called Genesis. Adam and Steve. Yeah, origin. Correct. Very good. It means origin or beginning of something. Okay. Yes. Okay. So anthropogenesis. Now, can you tell me the whole meaning? What is anthropogenesis? Yes. Yes. Very good. Both of you. Yes. It is basically humans' origin of humans, evolution of human race. Evolution of human race, the beginnings of it, etc. The next one is anthropoid. Anthropoid, like, what do you think it is, anthropoid? So basically, I'll tell you, we will watch movies, right? So these apes and all that, they have human features. Did you guys ever see that? The animals, many of the animals, yes. Manya, yes, very good. Okay, so it's like having characteristics of human beings. Many of the animals, if you see apes, for example, best example, they behave like human beings, don't they? That's why that's why anthropoid is like having the characteristics of human beings. Okay, any animal, anything that has characteristics of human beings is called anthropoid. Any living thing, animals. Yes, it does. It is. Resembling a human being in form is also anthropoid. And also characteristics and other features also. Mainly, of course, it is resembling the human beings. In the form, not just form, even the characteristics also. Sometimes in the form, sometimes in the characteristics. Okay, zoanthropy. Zoanthropy, anybody knows? It's like believing. Believing is, for example, if I believe that I'm not a human being, rather some animal, it's more like delusion. It is not. It is like a medical condition, by the way. Okay, this is a medical condition. This is not something like that happens to everybody. It's more like a medical condition, like delusion. So believing that you are an animal, that you have animal characteristics that are not human. Okay, if I believe that I'm an animal rather than human being, that is zoanthropy. Okay, we don't use these words in daily life, but yeah, GRE sort of needs it. Okay. Anthropomorphic. What do you think is anthropomorphic? I think you heard this word, didn't you? Correct. But what do you think is the difference between anthropoid and anthropomorphic? So anthropomorphic is basically, no, anthropomorphic is basically we sort of give characteristics, human characteristics to others. Like non-living things, I can give human-like features to non-living things like table, even living things. No, not robots. Like for example, did you guys watch these movies? Even robots also, that's fine. But did you guys watch these movies like Ice Age? All these animation movies, Madagascar, all these movies? Yes, they behave like humans, right? They don't exactly behave like humans outside. It's not real. But we are giving such like emotions to them, isn't it? They don't behave like that, and they don't have such features. They don't walk on 2 feet. Okay, so we are giving like human characteristics to others is anthropomorphic. Anthropoid is like they have it. Yes, correct. Non-humans. Anthropoid is like the animals, they have the features of human beings. That is anthropoid. It's not unreal. It's not like we are giving that. Anthropomorphic is we are giving it. Okay, we are attributing it. Okay, that's the difference between anthropoid and anthropomorphic. The next one is, so far you guys are clear, right? Okay. The next one is ornithology. What did we say logy is? Study. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. Correct. It is study of birds. It's a branch of zoology. It's study of birds. It's a branch of zoology. Yes. Okay. What is paleontology? Study of fossils. Yeah, study of life. Do you guys watch Friends? Friends show? Ross Geller? Paleontology is study of fossils, like or like life from the beginning of it, from the origin of it, like dinosaurs, fossils, how the humans evolved, etc. How the life evolved, not just humans. Nobody watches Friends? Watch it if you didn't. Okay. The next one, I thought you guys are typing, that's why I'm waiting. Okay. Next one is meteorology. Meteorology is okay. Study of climate. Yes. Study of atmosphere. Anything to do with atmosphere in some or the other atmosphere. Okay. Oh, so you thought it is meat. Okay, Soumya. Maybe this is why you thought it, isn't it? Meteorology. Okay. 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 So this is basically study of atmosphere, meteorology. Cryptology. Cryptology. Correct. Study of codes. Anything like, for example, people joining like all these detectives, they need to dissect a lot of codes. They need to decode the codes. Encryption, yes. That is what cryptology is. Okay, good, very good. Trilogy. Trilogy is, if I say a movie is a trilogy, what does it mean? If I say a movie is a trilogy. No, it has like 3 parts. Anything that has 3 parts is trilogy. Okay, trilogy. Anything that is separated, divided into 3 parts, that will be trilogy. That could be that could be novel, that could be a movie, that could be a play, anything. Okay. Yes. Good. So now the next one. You means good, pleasant, and kind, not EWU. EUU. Okay, EUU means good, pleasant, and kind. Euphemism. What do you think euphemism is? A pleasant substitute for a harsh word. Okay, pleasant substitute for a harsh word. For example, there are many euphemisms we use every day. When someone died, we don't say someone died. We would rather say someone passed away. Okay, that is a euphemism. That is a euphemism because we do not want to the dying. That is a very harsh word. So we are substituting it with something pleasant to hear. Okay, something pleasant. Can you guys think of any euphemisms? We use it a lot of euphemisms. We use a lot of euphemisms actually. Pardon. Okay. Here we can actually, this one also we use it every day. Like, for example, when we go to the railway station or bank or something, people do not say old people. Okay, when they have to refer to the old people are something like above 60, they will say senior citizens. Okay, senior citizens, correct? So that is a euphemism. Instead of calling them old people and something, because that is harsh, we are substituting it with euphemism, that is senior citizens. You get it? Okay. So the science of euphemism is like, etymology of it is like Greek word euphemo. Euphemo means good, auspicious speech. Eu means something good. Phemo is a speech. Eu is good. Phemo is a speech. Okay, euphemism, something like pleasant substitution. Blasphemous also comes from the similar roots from euphemism. Just like euphemism is good, it's like a good speech. Blasphemous is like something bad, sinful speech. Okay, sinful speech. So it's like the opposite of euphemism. Blasphemous. Okay, so when somebody dies, we say passed away. He passed away, he reached the heavenly abode, he kicked the bucket. There are many words that we use instead of die. These are all euphemisms. So, do you guys know what is the root word of kick the bucket? They used to use this. No, they used to use this phrase for earlier for some animals like pigs, etc. When they were about to slaughter them. Later on, people who committed suicide, that's when the phrase came from. But now it has become a satire, probably something humorous. But it started as something sad. Like it became popular with suicides. So it's a sad thing. Okay, we use a lot of euphemisms in our daily life. So if, for example, one second. Like, what do you guys know about homely and comely? Homely, do you guys know? What is homely, guys? Like homely. Home. Correct. Homely is home. But here it has a different meaning. Okay, it has a different meaning. Homely, of course, is something related to home, but usually it also means, yeah, close feeling, comfortable. But here it has a different meaning. It means unattractive. Usually it has also a different meaning, that is unattractive. Okay, unattractive. And comely is actually the opposite of it, is attractive. Attractive. Homely means unattractive and comely means attractive. Homely, yes, home feeling comfortable and all that is one meaning. Second meaning, of course, is unattractive. Okay, homely. Yeah. So the next one, we will come back to euphemisms. So capital punishment is the euphemism for death penalty. Instead of saying death penalty, we say capital punishment, isn't it? Instead of saying toilets, we say restroom, comfort station, etc. Like washroom, restroom, and all that. So that's also an euphemism we use every day. Penitentiary is the euphemism for prison. Both are same, but it's like, but we use prison. Okay, it's very rare that people use. Maybe in the legal terms they use it, but penitentiary is like a euphemism for it. So euphemistic means like adjective form of euphemism. It's like a good, pleasant speech. Euphemistic is the adjective of it. There are other words with you. What did we say? What did we say? You is good, right? Something good, something very good. Other words starting with you. Eugenics. Genics. What is genic? Related to genes, not what we wear genes, like inside DNA, genes. You know, eugenics is related to that. Eugenic is like improving the genetics, like selective breeding. It's a science word. Eugenics, like genes, improving the genetics by selective breeding. Probably the plants, we do selective breeding of it, or the animals, etc. Eugenics. Eupeptic. Eupeptic. Do you guys know eupeptic? It's like good digestion. Peptic. It's related to digestion. You is good. Good digestion. So digestion. Good digestion. Eudaimon. Eudaimon. If you read this, what is this? Demon. What is it? Yes, I will. Spirit. And yes, it's a ghost. So you means good. Eudaimon is good ghost. Friendly ghost. Yes, good spirit or friendly ghost, good ghost. Okay. So, Netra, eugenics is related to selective breeding. For example, with the plants, for example, you take we do selective breeding for plants. Like that's how we do. Yes, that's exactly like you mix the breeding and you basically like improve the genetics by selective breeding, like improve it, the DNA, the genes of it. Yeah, hybrid. Make it a hybrid. Okay, so yeah, eudaimon is a good spirit, good ghost. Eulogy. Eulogy, I said, right, logy is study, but there are many exceptions also. This is the one. This is here. It doesn't mean study. Eulogy is different. Eulogy is like a praising speech. Usually, when someone passes away, in the funeral, people give good speeches about the person. Like whoever is passed away, we talk good about the person. That's what in more than in India, it happens in UK, US, Western countries. Okay, eulogy. It means praising speech. So this word eulogy is often confused with elegy. Elegy means mournful poem. Elegy is a poem, sad poem. It's not praising poem. It is a sad poem, lamenting poem. It's like when someone passes away or some people pass away, we feel sad, right? So we write poem on that feeling, on that emotion. Here, this is different. You, of course, give speech at the funeral, but it is a praising speech. There is a difference between eulogy and elegy. Okay? Eulogy and elegy. So far, is it clear? Elegy, okay. So elegy is like a poem. When people pass away, we feel sad. Correct? When we feel sad, we write poems or song. Even this can be song also. Or song. You know, sad song. Sad poem or song. Mournful poem or song. But this is praising. Something like praising. Yes. Sad, or when you feel sad, when you feel sorrow, when you that is mournful. Okay, mourning time. People say mourning time as in like you are depressed, you are crying, and you are through a loss. You lost someone. Yes, that's like not clinical depression, but yes, normal depression. Yes. Okay, when you feel sad for something, you say mourning. Don't confuse it with mourning. Mourning is sad. Okay, we come here. These words. Like this one, and there are eulogy. Eulogy means a praising speech, isn't it? So all these words are also related to praising. Okay, related to praisings. Like citation has many meanings. Actually, citation, we say that as a reference, like bibliography, etc. That person is cited in the bibliography, where in the last, okay, in the last article page. That is one citation. But here means like it's like in the military, in the army. When people praise the other person, when people give award as a praise, that is citation. Like a military award. Okay? It's a citation. 1 second, guys. We can copy in the meantime. So yes, a citation means something like a military award. Award. Okay. And the next one is like paean. Paean. Paean is also like praise. Paean. Praising someone. Paean. Okay? Like songs or something. Paean. Panegyric. Panegyric is like poetic praising. Like very poetic, but it is also praising. Poetic. Very poetic. Okay, encomium is also it's like very eager to praise. Okay, when you are eager to praise someone, it's like that is eager. Being eager to praise. Eager to praise. When you are eager to praise, that is more like a moment of encomium. Okay? Is it clear? These are all praising words related to praise. All right, the next one is, of course, antonyms of eulogy. It's like the opposite of eulogy. We have tirade, philippic, broadside. Okay, philippic is like, tirade is like aggressive speech. For example, when someone uses aggressive words, abuses, etc. You look at this picture. What is this person doing? He's aggressive, right? When people are angry, they use aggressive words, abuses, etc. That is a tirade. We say that's a tirade, like long aggressive words that we call it tirade. Philippic. A philippic is also similar. Philippic is also like aggressive, very aggressive word. Okay, philippic. You know, Phil, actually, this one is a very interesting one. Phil, people, it actually means something like fondness. Okay, philanthropy, a lot of words related to Phil means bibliophile, etc. It means something like we are fond of something, we love something. But here, philippic is different. Philippic means something like aggressive, very aggressive and very abusive word. Because I think, if I'm not wrong, it comes from Napoleon. Yeah, it's not Roman, I think. Napoleon. In that period, anyhow, there is a person called Philippic, and he gave a long, aggressive speech. That's where the word comes from. Okay, that's where the word comes from. It's like aggressive speech. Aggressive speech. Okay, aggressive speech. Like using a lot of bad words. If you angrily say something, being aggressive speech. All three are similar. Broadside is also similar. Broadside is also aggressive speech. All three are aggressive speech. Yeah, like abusing someone through words, not the physical attack, as in through words. Ranting. When you are angry, what do? You rant. You sort of say all these words. You give an aggressive sort of account. That is tirade, philippic, and broadside. All the three the same. It means aggressive. Very angry speech. Her tirade provoked a counterblast from the husband. It's an example. Tirade as aggressive speech. Okay, diatribe. Diatribe is also very similar. Diatribe is also similar to aggressive speech. It is also same. Verbal attack. You can remember it like that. All the words are similar, guys. All the words: tirade, philippic, broadside, diatribe, fulmination, thunderous, verbal attack, etc. All the words are the same. When we attack someone verbally, when we abuse them verbally, when we give an aggressive speech, that is diatribe, tirade, philippic, broadside. Fulmination. Fulmination is also verbal attack. There are many words. You can group these words on one page. Group these words. He launched into a long diatribe. This person also launched into it. Okay. Okay. So another word is, of course, this one is also similar. Many words for us for a verbal attack. There are many words for verbal attack. This is also similar. Ranting, yeah, but these two, however, unlike the other others. These two can also be used in as something like normal speech also, normal tedious speech, like long tiring speech. These two have neutral connotation also, neutral meaning also, not just very negative meaning. These words, all they mean of course is negative, but here it can also be neutral. For example, read this: a long harangue from the headmaster about the good behavior. A boring, yeah, tedious is boring, yes. Something like long ranting, kept on ranting. Some it's not exactly aggressive, like kept on, like this person, what the person is doing is also harangue. You can see this, right? Harangue, that can be emotional, aggressive, and it can also be simply ranting, kept on ranting. Okay, harangue. It can also be aggressive, verbal attack. Okay, verb form of eulogy is like eulogizing. If you are eulogizing someone, so you're giving a good speech. Synonyms are like laud, applaud. Okay, laud, applaud. 1 second, yes. Okay, the next word is euphoria. Euphoria is like ecstatic state, very happy, extremely happy. Extremely happy. So if you are extremely happy, you call it ecstasy. Ecstatic. Ecstasy. Euphoria is that. Yeah. More than excited. Very happy. Okay. Ecstasy, euphoria are the same. Okay. Nth degree of happiness, like highest form of happiness. Like normally, for example, here, look at this, pleasure and ecstasy. What is the difference? Like pleasure is, of course, like if you have a good cup of coffee, or if you watch a good movie, or if you do something you love, if you love watching cricket, or if you love watching something, you feel pleasure. You have the pleasure. Like if you eat good food, the food that you like, that is pleasure. But ecstasy is something extremely happy. Something like probably if you get highest score in GRE, that would be ecstasy. That is ecstasy, like extremely happy. Surprise, astonishment. So what is the difference here? The difference is in the intensity. The intensity is higher here. Ecstasy is like intensity higher. So surprise is, of course, it's a surprise. Like normally when you get surprised as something, so you're surprised at something, that is different. Astonishment is like the intensity higher. Okay, astonishment. Of course, you are surprised when there is a surprise test. So there is a surprise test, that is a surprise. But astonishment is like a huge thing. Astonished. So something that extremely unexpected happened. Okay. Similarly, there is misbehavior, crime. So if you have like misbehavior, what is misbehavior? Probably a kid misbehaves in a school, in a classroom. That is misbehavior. Something that is excused, that can be excused. But crime is illegal. Something like stealing money. Anything that is illegal. Joy. Of course, we said this, joy and euphoric. Joy is like normal joy, and euphoric is extremely happy. We discussed this. So next, did we see euphony? Euphoric. So similar to euphony, euphoric is extremely happy, right? Euphony. All the words we are looking at all the words with you. Phony. Phony means something related to sound. Phone. Anything related to sound? Yes. No. Sound. Basically, anything related to sound is phone. Phony. That's where the phone also comes from, mobile phone, etc. So euphony is pleasant sound, melody, music. Okay, euphony, pleasant sound. So something like if you listen to the good music, that is euphony. If you let's say a pleasant sound. Okay, synonym of euphony, we have many synonyms for it. Synonym as in the same meaning, it has the same meaning. Consonants, assonance. So basically they have the good rhythm. If they have the good rhythm, they are consonants and assonance. Like they are used in poetry. Basically they are used in poetry. In poetry, if you have like if you know, that's how the songs came about through poetry. In poetry you'll have rhythm, right? So when there is rhythm, it sounds good to your ears. So that is what consonance or assonance is. So when it has rhythm, okay, so that is what consonant assonance, something like good music to the ears. Synonym of euphonic. Euphonic is like pleasing music. We already talked about this same one. This is noun and this is adjective. The other words with euphonic is like mellifluous. Mellifluous. Very sweet music. Very sweet music. Mellifluous. Dulcet. Again, sweet music. Synonym of euphonic. Okay, very sweet or music. So these are all words. All these words mean good music, something good sound, pleasant sound. Okay. So here we can see euphonic, melancholic. Euphoric, sorry, euphonic it seems. That's what. Euphoric and melancholic. What does it mean? Euphoric, what does it mean? It means extremely happy. Melancholic is extremely sad, mournful. We said that, right? Another word that we said, mournful. Okay, sad, depressed. Okay, sad, mournful. Euphoric is extremely happy. So what are these? Antonyms, isn't it? This is happy. This is sad. This is like antonyms of it. Ecstatic, dejected. Can you try? Can you guess it? Like ecstatic, dejected. Ecstatic is happy, right? It is extremely happy. Dejected is again sad, like defeated. That you feel defeated. You feel defeated. That is dejected. Dulcinea. Dulcinea is like darling, something like sweetheart. You probably wouldn't know. That's why I didn't ask you. So something like in order to like for example, we have these words like many words, as in sweet words to refer to someone that we love. Like Dulcinea is also like that, like sweetheart, darling, that kind of word. Okay. So the next one is sim or sin. Okay. It means together. Whenever you come across sim or sin, it means together. So synonym, what is it? It has the same meaning. Like these two words are together. That's what it means. Like synonym. It has two same meaning. Okay, symposium. What do you guys know what is symposium? You can see it in the picture. Can you see it in the picture? What is happening in that picture? Gathering. Meeting. Yes, it's a meeting. Symposium. It's a meeting. It's like a conference. Okay, conference, discussion topic, discussing, etc. Okay, symposium. It's a meeting. Sympathy. Sympathy. What is sympathy, guys? No? Okay, how is it? Is this okay now? Am I audible? Yes. 1 second, please. Okay. So the next one is empathy. Can you guys tell me the empathy and empathy? Yes, that is empathy. No, empathy means thinking. Yeah, as who said this? Manya, right? Yeah, as Manya said, empathy means placing someone in someone else's shoes. As in, see, sympathy means something you feel pity. You feel pity of something like, but empathy means something you that is like a stronger emotion than sympathy. Empathy is like extremely intense. The intensity is extremely high. Okay, so when you feel extreme feeling for someone, or you imagine being in that situation, you doing something, or you feel extremely sad for someone, that is empathy. It's just the intensity difference. Okay. The meaning, however, you can say placing yourself in someone else's shoes is like fitting meaning for empathy. Okay. Intensity, higher intensity compared to sympathy. Where is sympathy? Yeah, it's like just pity. Okay, nonchalance. What did we see? Antipathy. Okay, let's see sympathy, empathy, antipathy also. Apathy also we'll see. Antipathy is against like this one, emotions, against emotions. Okay, against emotions. Any emotion, like you don't like emotions at all. Any emotion, you are against of it. Okay, that is antipathy. Anti means against, right? Like opposite of something. Antipathy. Apathy. Apathy is like a like something like nonchalance. It's also similar. Indifference. These here it's there. Something like casual. You don't care. You don't care about it. That's like apathy. You don't care. Okay, like now when people want to accuse something like the apathetic government doesn't care, as in it doesn't care. Like they don't have feel emotions for you. It's different from antipathy. As in antipathy is like negative. Against it, apathy is like indifferent. They don't care. They don't have any emotion for it. They don't care. Okay, that is apathy. Indifference. Indifference is also similar. Like don't be indifferent. Study now, as in you don't care. You don't care about the coming test. That's being indifferent. Okay. Dispassionate is also similar, as in like you do not have the emotions, you don't care about it. That is dispassionate. Nonchalance is again similar, like nonchalance, not having like being casual, not caring about it. Nonchalance, casual about it. Okay, these all these words are similar. Casual is also similar. Casual, being casual, you do not care enough. Okay, you do not care enough. That is casual. Nonchalance, indifference, dispassionate, apathy. Apathy is like you use it in very strong, very serious situations. Indifference and nonchalance, you can use it in for normal situations also. Dispassionate, casual, these are all the words. Okay. The next one, if being out of rhythm is sound means dissonance, that we actually said. So we saw assonance, correct? We saw assonance, which means good sound, like in rhythm, but out of rhythm, like bad sound, something like very bad sound, something it's very, that is dissonance. You can't hear it. Oh my God, it's too awful. Okay, the bad sound, that is dissonance. It literally means out of rhythm. Okay, being out of time means like anachronism. What do I mean? For example, in this movie, what is the movie? Bahubali. In the movie Bahubali, if Prabhas has a mobile and kind of like charts on the Instagram, does that fit? What does it say? Like it's like out of time. There is no link between. You are trying to show me period drama. Something happened in like years and long so ago. But you show me the mobile and Instagram that is contemporary. It won't fit. Like out of time. The time is misfit, isn't it? That's what anachronism is. Okay. So dissonance, sound dissonance means like out of as we said, bad sound out of rhythm. Did you guys understand what is anachronism? It's a little confusing. That's why I asked. Some people get confused. Yes. Okay. The next one is, okay, wait a second. Yeah. In the this one similar example here. In the movie Troy, Brad Pitt Troy, in a particular scene, there is an airplane hovering over the head of the Brad Pitt, Achilles. That is called anachronism. You cannot expect like flights and like the airplanes in Greek time, Trojan War time, isn't it? So that's why anachronism, misfit to the time. Okay, root word for anachron. Chron is chronos. Chronos means time. Okay, chronos means time. So chronic is what? Something like an everyday affair, something that happens every day, very serious, that is lifelong, chronic. Okay, like for a long duration, you have it. Okay, long duration. Chronicles. What are chronicles? It's like a detailed narrative, like a record. Another word you have it like chronology. Do you guys know it? Chronology. What is it? Chronology is like arrangement of events, like in time. Well, if I say that's not in chronology, as in like chronology is supposed to be one after the other, either in ascending order or descending order. What do I mean by ascending and descending? Like for example, if you go to a college, or if you have to submit your certificates in a university, you will probably start from 10th standard, then 11th and 12th, then graduation, etc. Or you will probably start from graduation, 11th, 12th and 11th, then 10th something. So some chronology has to be there, some pattern has to be there, like from arrangement of events of time in particular order, either descending or ascending. Descending has to be from top to the bottom. For ascending will be from the bottom to the top. Okay. So this one, this is a good word, euthanasia. Euthanasia. It's like, it means, you means we said good, right? You means good, as we already discussed. Euthanasia. Thanos. Do you guys know who is the Thanos? Thanatos. It means the god of death. Greek. Thanatos is god of death, like the Greek god of death. Okay, Thanos. I think he's in Troy movie also, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. Anyhow, so that's where the word Thana related to the death word comes from. Okay, so what is euthanasia? It's like mercy killing. There is no mercy killing. Mercy killing. So someone is suffering. Yes. There is this problem here. I'll try to sort it out, because if it is a net issue, I think it is. Let's see. Because if it is a net issue, I change the net. It can't be a net issue. Some problem is there. I'll try to figure it out tomorrow. Anyhow, let's finish the class today. I hope I can finish it in time, so that, yeah. So euthanasia is a pleasant death. Mercy killing. I wrote it here. Okay, mercy killing. You guys know what is mercy killing? Mercy killing is something in order to relieve someone from the pain or the suffering, people kill them, basically. To just relieve, to just stop them from feeling the pain and suffering, just to release them from the pain. Mercy killing. Okay, so when somebody is undergoing a painful death, the doctors, with the consent of the patient, with the consent as an approval, this is not legal in many countries, tries to provide him a quick and pleasant death, euthanasia. Words related to the root word mal. Mal means bad, evil, harmful. This is important. You come across many words mal. Mal means bad, evil, and harmful. Mal. Okay. Malign. Malign means maligning someone, as in vilify. Defame. Defame someone. Insult. Like publicly shame. Shame someone. Publicly shame. Okay, publicly shame, malign, defame, insult, publicly shame. Okay, malice. Malice means it's like a diseased condition. A diseased condition. Malice. Okay. Malice. Malice is like an evil intention. Like I could see the malice in their behavior. Evil intention. Okay, malice. Malice. Okay. This malice pronunciation is very similar. They both have mal. Like this is a diseased condition, very chronic condition. This is a malice, is like an evil intention. Okay. Malignant. Malignant is harmful. Very harmful. Opposite of benignant. Benignant is harmless. Harmless. Benignant. Malignant is harmful. Okay. The opposite of the root word mal is ben, which means good. Benign is the opposite of malign. Malign is something we said vilify, right? Benign is being friendly. You know, we talked about this, being merciful. Beneficiary and benefactor, they come from the word benefit. Benefactor is someone who helps. Beneficiary is someone who takes the help. Financial or otherwise. Usually it's in the financial terms. Beneficiary, benefactor, these are financial terms. So benefactor is someone who helps, like financial terms, and beneficiary is someone who takes help. Okay? Beneficiary is a person who receives the benefit. Sometimes the root words are confusing. Okay, we said that, like for example, I said words with ben is good and words with mal is bad. That's what we said, right? But sometimes the root words can be confusing, because in English we get many words from many languages. Sometimes the two words can look similar, two root words, but they come from two different sources, two different roots. Two different foreign languages, but they look very similar. That's exactly why sometimes there will be exceptions. You need to be careful. Okay. For example, here, pediatrics. Pediatrics is like the branch of medicine concerned with the treatment of infants and children. Correct? It's like a children doctor. Children's doctor is the pediatric. Pedodontist is like a dentist who specializes in the care of children. Okay, it's about the children teeth, pedodontist. But let's see. So ped is related to the children. That's what we assume. Ped is related to children. That's what is supposed to be also. But here, pedicure, tripod. So pedicure is like professional care for the feet and toenails, isn't it? So ped, we cannot assume here it means something related to kids, isn't it? So it means to have, it means it's about feet cleaning. It comes from the root word pod, tripod, pod. It comes from the root word. So the two root words are different. The two root words, sometimes it happens. So when the two root words look similar, we kind of confuse them too. Sometimes, so there will always be exceptions, but try to use your common sense also when you come across these words, when most of the words, of course, will have the same meaning. So you can always try to guess the word by the structure of the word, but always remember there can be exceptions also. Okay, tripod is like the three-legged one, the pod, same root word. Clear? Some other words we have, I think last set of words. Okay, miss means what? Miss means bad. And miss also means hatred. Two meanings for miss. One means bad, one means hatred. So two meanings for miss. Misdemeanor. What is demeanor, guys? Demeanor means behavior. Misdemeanor demeanor means behavior. Misbehavior. Okay, misbehavior. Misanthrope and misanthrope, we talked about this. Something hatred. Hatred for humankind. Misanthrope. Anthrope is human. Mis is hatred. Hatred for humankind. Misogamy. Gamy means marriage. Marriage. Gamy. Gamy means marriage. Misogamy. Misogamy means hatred for marriage. Someone who hates marriage. Misogamy. Misogyny. Gynae. Gynae means related to woman. Gynae, we know. Okay, misogyny is hatred for woman. Okay, so gynae related to woman. Misogyny is hatred for woman. Mono means one. Mono means one. Monolith, like a single huge construction. Mono means something like a huge construction. Maybe like Qutub Minar or something like that. Charminar. Okay, huge construction. Monochrome. Monochrome, you know, black and white. Isn't it? Monochrome. Black and white. You see, earlier movies used to be in monochrome. Monotheism. Like usually the mono here means like only one single color, no multiple colors, no color, other colors. Okay. Monotheism. Monotheism. Okay, no problem. Yes, where did you think you got stuck? Misogamy. Misogamy means hatred for marriage. Okay, misogamy means hatred. Someone who hates marriage. Misogamy. Someone who hates marriage. Misogyny is hatred for women. Okay, monolith. All right. Monolith, like it's like a huge construction, single huge. Like mono means one, right? It's like a huge building construction. Okay, monument, huge construction, monolith. All right, monolith, huge construction. Monochrome. Monochrome is like black and white, like colorless, not having the color. Monochrome. Okay, black and white, colorless, hueless, colorless. Monotheism. Mono means, of course, one. Theism is related to religion. Theism is related to religion. So, a religion that believes in one God. Monotheism. Okay, the monotheism is a religion that believes in one God. Monologue. Monologue is like a, am I going fast again? Monotheism is a religion that believes in one God. Okay. The next one is monologue. It's like a long speech. For example, you sit somewhere and you assume the audience and you give speech. Monologue. Man Ki Baat is an example. Mr. Narendra Modi's Man Ki Baat in YouTube and all that, we see that, right? That's like a monologue. Many of the speeches, they assume the audience, but they give a long speech. Man Ki Baat. Okay, monologue. If you guys don't respond, or don't say anything, if I give the class assuming you are there and all that, that will be monologue also. Mostly mine is a monologue now. Okay. Monarchy. Yes. Ruled by a single person. Monarchy. Like absolute power. Like kingdom also can be monarchy. Like having the absolute power, one person holding the absolute power. Monarchy. It's like a governance. Okay. Poly means many. Poly means many. Polygamy, like gummy, what did we say gummy means? Not many gametes, gummy, marriage. Polygamy is more than one marriage. Many marriages. Okay, polygamy. Alright, polyglot. Now, if you can speak in multiple languages, you are a polyglot. If you are multilingual, not bilingual. Bilingual is something that you can talk in 2 languages. Multilingual is something you can talk in like multiple languages. You can speak in multiple languages. Polyglot. Like P.V. Narasimha Rao. We keep on saying this, yeah? Polyglot. All right? Any doubts so far? Are you guys all clear? Yes, we came across many words today. Let's start exercise from tomorrow. Okay, Samya, 1 second. Generally, if we attend the GRE exam on average or minimum, how much do we get? 340 for 340 total. Soumya, this is the one that we just go there. So this is the one. Okay, in the verbal, you can just see this. I knew some of you gonna miss the one. I even waited for some of you to join the class. That's why. But yeah. Anyhow, so analytical writing, we have it. The score will be like 0 to 6. The highest mark will be 6. Okay, your timings will be 30 minutes, 30 minutes. And verbal reasoning, you will have like 40 questions. And the score will be 130 to 170. You'll have to score. Okay, 170 is the highest. You should aim for at least 160. Okay, 160 you should aim. Of course, these 2 exams will be different. On average, they will give you everything, but these 2 exams, they won't be combined. Yeah, 130 is like the minimum marks. AVA is 0 to 6 Soumi. 0 to 6. So you can get like 1 point, that won't be counted at all. The average is you need to get at least 3.5. Average. 3.5 will be average. You should aim for something more than 4.5. Okay, this is the average mark. Below this, they won't even consider. You should at least get 3.5. Ma'am, will each question carry 1 mark? Actually, it's not like 1 mark, Netra. It depends actually. So they will see the difficulty level also. They'll give you on the average. They will probably do it. Okay. Usually they'll tell you depending on the question. They will tell you how much marks it carries, and it changes also. GRE scoring 111. It's not like that. It's not fixed like CAT or CLAT, something like that. Okay, we can't exactly, we can assume, yeah, 1 mark we can assume. Okay, that's exactly, it's not the correct one because they'll probably do it an average. Okay. Okay, Soumya, I'll probably show it. Guys, if anyone missed the class, you can stay here. Otherwise, the class is done. The Soumya missed the class, so she wants to see the first 8 slides to copy the notes. So otherwise, you guys can go, leave. Okay, we will meet tomorrow. This is the first slide. I don't think this is for your understanding, Soumya. You don't have to copy it. Okay. And the verbal reasoning, you know, there is of course Pasha, you will probably have to stay. You'll probably have to stay 10 days. Yeah, around 10 days. See, depends, right? In the middle, you will also do quant. Depending on how many classes I'll get, it depends on that. You'll also be doing maths simultaneously. So it depends on that also. These are all not necessary, Soumya. This is about scoring. We were telling that there is no negative marking in GRE. There is no negative marking. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Bye. Thank you. Bye.